All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is June 10th, 2025, and we got a calm day ahead of us. Why I say that? Because yesterday we started off the week good. We were hearing early in the morning about the China trade deal in London. This morning, they're actually still in it. We've heard a couple of good things, but it's all been about export controls. A lot of it is the same info as yesterday. No other crazy development, and then tomorrow we have this CPI data. So today it's either going to be a lot of calmness or maybe crazy leading into it. I wouldn't get too caught up with that. Again, yesterday we even spent 7 hours to go nowhere, even though it felt like we moved, but then at the last second it went down. So all being said, man, we're going to have a good one, but really towards the middle of the week, tomorrow and thereafter, that's when things are supposed to take off. But if anything happens ahead of it, we'll see. We got a couple of headlines. We are going to get a little bit of data, not really like economy data, but bond auctions, 3-year, then you got the 7-year, and after 10-year and 30-year. So it's going to be an exciting week, but all that being said, the market rally continues. The hedge funds are still talking away. And yeah, we have a lot in store. And welcome to almost summer, Chatadonia. So I hope you're ready for all of it. Welcome to Tuesday. And good morning. What up, Mark? What up, Malcolm, Manziel, Fish, Enrico, Tim Whitman, Laker, Jay. Good morning, baby. What's going on? Brown Tom Crows, Tyler Hall, Anastagos, Connor, Kurt McGurr, winning loser. Good morning, baby. What up, Sean? Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Devlin. What up, Passion? How you doing, Matt? Connor, Max, CJ, Ben, Ion, Mr. Edwards, Mr. Axel, Danny. What up, Zach? Mr. Forento. Good morning, baby. Cantology, Candy Upton, Johnny B. God. Tyree, are you ready? Oh, y'all woke up, huh? What up, Sin City? What up, Guido? James Cook. Good morning, the Falcon, Luis Soto, Mr. Pink, Landon, Nano, Tim. Good morning, Mr. Bryant, Forrest Gump. Oh, my goodness, Chad. What up, Bunch? What up, Carlito? Oh, yes, it's Tuesday. Oh, don't let me get too hype. I forgot we have the calming music. It's a good day, man. It's a good day to have a good day. It's a good day to be alive, bro. What are you talking about? You blessed. Wake your ass up or go back to bed. If you know what I'm saying? I'd go back to bed if I ain't feel like this. Stop it. Here is Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Futures waver as traders eye trade talks outcome. U.S. stock futures wavered as talks between China and the Trump administration carried into a second day, with investors staying cautious amid the absence of meaningful progress in resolving the two nations' trade dispute. S&P 500 contracts were little changed after erasing an earlier advance. European equities were also flat. The UK's FTSE 100, however, was poised to close at an all-time high for the first time since March. U.S. Treasuries extended gains ahead of a $58 billion auction of 3-year bonds, while Monday's negotiations in London between the U.S. and China delivered no breakthrough. American officials had sounded optimistic that the two sides could ease tensions over shipments of technology and rare earth elements. With a key inflation read on tap Wednesday, investors are waiting for fresh drivers after stocks rebounded to near record levels from their April lows. We believe the path of least resistance for equities remains upward and potentially see room for some U.S. performance catch-up, wrote Alistair Pinder, global equity strategist at HSBC Holdings plc. As delegations from the U.S. and China arrived at London's Lancaster House for the start of talks on Tuesday, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said discussions were going well and expected negotiations to continue all day today. Meanwhile, analysts at firms including Barclays plc and JP Morgan Chase & Company see further upside for U.S. stocks, in part because they expect institutional investors to abandon their cautious stance and ramp up exposure to equities. Citigroup Inc. strategists said that technology heavyweights have attracted a flurry of bullish bets as optimism around the trade outlook overshadows trade concerns. Flow activity has been largely one-sided, driven by new risk flows for large caps, the team led by Chris Montague wrote. While tariff policy issues remain a concern, investors have also been assessing the evolving macro backdrop.
The FTSE 100 surpassed its previous closing peak as investors took comfort from an improving economic outlook and easing trade tensions, with the UK becoming the first nation to strike a deal with President Donald Trump after his April 2nd tariff announcements. Still, sentiment remains fragile as London faces an exodus of companies moving listings to the U.S. and shelving initial public offerings. In China, stocks were volatile as traders tracked the latest headlines from the trade talks. The Hang Seng China Enterprises Index dipped almost 1% during the session and then recovered most of the losses. The yield on 10-year treasuries fell 2 basis points to 4.45%. The dollar was little changed. Traders will be closely watching Tuesday's 3-year Treasury auction as a read on whether or not foreigners are reducing their holding of U.S. assets, wrote Chris Turner, head of foreign exchange strategy at ING Bank in London. The focus, therefore, will be on the indirect bid at the auction and also the general gauge of auction success, Turner wrote. A poor auction could rekindle the weaker dollar story. Corporate highlights: Blackstone Inc. is planning to invest as much as $500 billion in Europe over the next 10 years. Chief Executive Officer Steve Schwarzman said Mark Zuckerberg, frustrated with Meta Platforms Inc.'s shortfalls in AI, is assembling a team of experts to achieve artificial general intelligence. Novo Nordisk AS shares rose to the highest level in more than 2 months after a report that activist hedge fund Parvis Asset Management has built a stake in the Danish drug maker. Italy's Agnelli family has earmarked around 2 billion euros, $2.3 billion, to invest in a U.S. or European company as it looks to redeploy proceeds from the partial sale of its Ferrari NV stake. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, the main chip maker for NVIDIA Corp, and Apple Inc. reported a 39.6% jump in May revenue after companies stockpiled chips in response to mounting trade uncertainty. Europe's only Starlink alternative has to get cash fast to have any hope of challenging Elon Musk's provider of satellite-based internet services. Zuckerberg is personally recruiting new superintelligence AI team at Meta. Mark Zuckerberg, frustrated with Meta Platforms Inc.'s shortfalls in AI, is assembling a team of experts to achieve artificial general intelligence, recruiting from a brain trust of AI researchers and engineers who've met with him in recent weeks at his homes in Lake Tahoe and Palo Alto. Zuckerberg has prioritized recruiting for the secretive new team, referred to internally as a superintelligence group. According to people familiar with his plans, he has an audacious goal in mind. These people said, in his view, Meta can and should outstrip other tech companies in achieving what's known as artificial general intelligence, or AGI, the notion that machines can perform as well as humans at many tasks. Once Meta reaches that milestone, it could weave the capability into its suite of products, not just social media and communications platforms, but also a range of AI tools, including the Meta chatbot and its AI-powered Ray-Ban glasses. Zuckerberg aims to hire around 50 people for the new team, including a new head of AI research, almost all of whom he's recruiting personally. He's rearranged desks at the company's Menlo Park headquarters so the new staff will sit near him, the people said, asking to remain anonymous, discussing private plans. And Agnelli hunt €2 billion deal in Europe or US after Ferrari sale. Italy's Agnelli family has earmarked around 2 billion euros, $2.3 billion, to invest in a U.S. or European company as it looks to redeploy proceeds from the partial sale of its Ferrari NV stake. The family's holding company, Exor NV, is looking for candidates after receiving 3 billion euros from the Ferrari transaction earlier this year. Chief Financial Officer Guido de Boer said in an interview Exor would seek to buy 10% to 15% of the new company and become the largest shareholder. He said, with those parameters, target candidates would have a market value in the range of 20 billion euros. Wary Wall Street positioning leaves room for S&P 500 to rally. Analysts at firms including Barclays PLC and JP Morgan Chase & Company see further upside for U.S. stocks, in part because they expect institutional investors to abandon their cautious stance and ramp up exposure exposure to equities. While stocks have roared back from their tariff-fueled April slide, big money managers remain remarkably underweight. Their overall equity positioning has been lower only 23% of the time since 2010, according to Deutsche Bank AG. President Donald Trump's ever-changing trade policies have led them to show restraint, even as bullish retail investors have helped to push the S&P 500 index back toward a record high. That positioning reflects tentative sentiment on the part of institutional asset managers, but it gives them room to boost their allocations as they seek to keep up with the market. At Barclays, global head of equities tactical strategies, Alexander Altman, says his team is staying long and strong U.S. equity risks over the next few weeks, calling both positioning and sentiment too low. And with the Trump administration's focus seemingly moving from tariffs to tax cuts, the path of least resistance is to new highs. JP Morgan strategists led by Dubravko Lacoste-Bujas wrote to clients last week, even after a V-shaped rebound in global equities, investor positioning remains light to moderate and sentiment is lukewarm. The S&P 500 is approaching its first record high since February 19 after a 20% rebound from its April 8th trough. That swift recovery from steep losses occurred in less than 2 months, the shortest gay volume shock on record, according to Deutsche Bank strategists led by Parag Tat. Top overnight news: trade tariffs. U.S.-China talks to continue today as White House eyes deal on tech export controls, rare earths. Bloomberg, NYT, Reuters, CNBC. U.S.-China trade war escalates with new trade weapons and broader scope of affected industries as both seek leverage. Bloomberg: China rare earths export curbs fuel alarm among global autos, defense about longer-term supply chain disruptions. Reuters, CNBC: Federal Appeals Court nears decision on pausing ruling against Trump-era tariffs as legal and trade tensions escalate. Bloomberg: Trump may have to decide between securing big trade deals or keeping tariffs on autos. Politico corporate: Apple unveils new OS redesign. Mac OS announces updates to Apple Intelligence, giving developers access. FT link Axios. NVIDIA and Hewlett-Packard collaborating to build the Blue Lion supercomputer set for 2027 using next-gen chips. Reuters: IBM plans to build a large-scale, fault-tolerant quantum computer, IBM Quantum Starling, by decade's end. Yahoo Finance: Morgan Stanley sounding out investors to help shore up demand for xAI's $5 billion debt sale following Musk-Trump feud. Bloomberg: OpenAI says annual recurring revenue has almost doubled to $10 billion from $5.5 billion last year amid surging demand for ChatGPT. FT: Novo Nordisk shares hit a 2-month high following reports activist hedge fund Parvis Asset Management has acquired a stake. FT: TSM's May revenue jumped 40% as chip stockpiling rose amid trade fears. AI demand remains strong. Bloomberg: Chinese EV makers, led by BYD, are outpacing Tesla in affordable electric vehicles and advancing in self-driving technology. Reuters: Toyota and Daimler will merge their truck subsidiaries under new holding company by April 2026. Bloomberg: Washington: CBO estimates Treasury will breach debt ceiling between mid-August/end September, 2 weeks later than earlier seen. Bloomberg: Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. fires all members of CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel. FT: Reuters: U.S. military to deploy 700 Marines to L.A. FT: Trump suggests he would support arrest of California Governor Newsom. Reuters: Federal agents ordered to intensify arrests of illegal immigrants after deportations fell short of Trump's promises. Link: Texas Republicans consider mid-cycle redistricting to gain advantage, but risks and internal doubts persist. Bloomberg: Markets: Analysts expect U.S. stocks to rise as institutional investors increase their equity exposure soon. Bloomberg: Citi says U.S. technology stocks see increase in bullish bets due to economic optimism recently. Bloomberg: Fund managers warn Section 899 from Trump-era tax law may drive foreign investors from U.S. markets. CNBC: This week's U.S. Treasury auction seen as a key test of market sentiment. Reuters. Asian retail traders shy away from U.S. stocks following Liberation Day tariff fallout. Bloomberg. Central banks. BOJ Governor Ueda repeats readiness to tighten if confidence in inflation target improves, but comments lean dovish. Reuters. Former BOJ Executive Director A.G. Maeda suggests pace of JGB purchase reductions will likely slow. All Bloomberg. ECB's Holtzman says interest rates may be kept on hold through summer with inflation in reach. Bloomberg. New Zealand's finance minister wants RBNZ to add summer policy meeting. Bloomberg. Economy. China utilizing CNY 10.9T fund to support its housing sector, providing alternatives to bank mortgages. Bloomberg. The latest UK labor market data showed weakening employment situation with unemployment rate hitting 4-year high. FT Reuters. UK retail sales growth slows sharply in May, raising concerns over consumer confidence. FT Bloomberg. German consumer sentiment worsens sharply as economic and political pessimism rises. Reuters. Investor sentiment in Eurozone improved in June, with Germany's index at its highest since March 2022. Reuters. Early consensus flags potential for Japan to enter slight technical recession in H1. Nikkei. Australian consumer and business sentiment nudges higher, but business conditions soften. Bloomberg. Geopolitics. Trump says cannot accept Iran's demand that it continue enriching uranium. Talks resume Thursday. Bloomberg. D. Trump and top foreign policy team met at Camp David to discuss U.S. strategy on the Iran nuclear crisis and the war in Gaza. Axios. In front page People's Daily interview, Huawei founder brushes off impact of U.S. export curbs. Bloomberg. People's Daily. FT. Macron leaves door open to another snap election, citing need to preserve authority amid political gridlock. Bloomberg.
Macron. There's more. S&P futures, they're up by 0.2. Tuesday morning trading comes after the S&P and NASDAQ and Russell all finished higher in a fairly uneventful Monday session. Small caps, crowded shorts, high short interest among the standouts. Tesla, the big gainer among Mag 7. Defensives and financials lag. Treasury stronger with yields out the back end down 4 to 5 basis points. Dollar is up by 0.1. Gold is up by 0.1. Bitcoin is up by 0.8. And WTI is up by 0.6. Very quiet as the markets wait for headlines out of the second day of U.S.-China trade talks in London. Consensus seems to revolve around some relaxation of export controls from both sides. China expected to dial back rare earth restrictions, and U.S. expected to relax select tech restrictions. Market also waiting for CPI on Wednesday and 30-year bond auction on Thursday. Nothing on the monetary policy front following Trump's recent remarks about a near-term pick to succeed Powell. With the quiet period ahead of the next Fed meeting, nothing incremental on the fiscal policy, with more talk about potential Senate reconciliation slippage beyond the July 4th timeline. NFIB small business optimism ticked up to 98.8 in May, up from 95.8 in April, ahead of expectations and snapping a 4-month streak of declines. Treasury selling $58 billion to 3-year notes today, though the market much more focused on the 30-year bond sale on Thursday. Wednesday brings the May CPI, with the market expecting 0.2 on headline and 0.3 on core. Apple WWDC takeaways focused on lack of any meaningful progress on Apple Intelligence. Meta CEO Zuckerberg reportedly frustrated with the quality of response of Llama 4 and is personally leading the hiring of a team of experts to achieve artificial and general intelligence. TSM reported a 40% jump in May sales with the help of chip stockpiling related to tariff uncertainty. NVO boosted on report that activist hedge fund Parvis has built a stake in the drug maker. Citi sees banking revenue up MSD in Q2, though higher cost of credit provision. Disney to pay Comcast an additional $440 million for its 33% stake in Hulu. T reiterated 2025 guide and said wireless industry remains healthy and competitive. Wow, Habibi. It's a good time. It's a good time. I keep it a roll, you know? Wow. Oh, excuse me. So, pre-market movers, INSM, they're up by 23.9. Phase 2B study of terrestrial palmitil inhalation powder meets primary endpoint. KC is up by 10.5 off earnings. TME is up by 5.6. Proposed acquisition of Gymlaya. SMMT is up by 4.1. Circle is up by 3.6. Recent IPO. Tesla up 2.4. Trump softens comments regarding Elon late yesterday, what we talked about live. TSM is up by 2.2, May revenue up 40%, Plug is up 13, follow through insider buy, UNFI is up 4.7 off earnings, HRO is up 3.8, William Blair outperformed, NAM's up 3.6, initiated buy at Stifel, RDW is up 3, selected by NASA, Space Microalgae Biotech Experiment. Lion is up by 3, AUB is up by 2.6, Raymond James upgrade, ASO is up by 1.4 off earnings, K39 nothing, MGNX 21.3 enters ZinZ royalty agreement with Sagard Healthcare. NRXS is up by 10.5, secures academic society guideline recommendation for treatment of functional abdominal pain in IBS. QTRX 8.7 insider buy, ARAI is up by 8, secures patent. Omer up 4.5, HC Wainwright initiates buy, QSG 4.2 city upgrade. Gilt is up by 3.8, commercial division secures 27 million for ESA terminal technology. EGBN is up by 3.7, James Montgomery upgrade. Glue is up 3.5, FDA clearance of IND application. Trading lower. UTHR is down 12 in reaction to INSM Phase 2B study. Smucker's down 8 off of earnings. Rubric down by 5.4, 1 billion convertible offering. CNM is down by 5.1 off earnings. Bro down 2.0 to acquire a Session Risk Management Group for 9 billion. And they're filing a 4 billion. Oh, bro, that's not bro. I was like, why are they buying that? That makes no sense. CoreWeave down 2. DA Davidson mentions cautiously. McDonald's down 1.3. Redburn downgrade. LQDA down 16.5 in reaction to INSM Phase 2B. Sezzle down 5.8. Files antitrust against Shopify. Provides business update and reaffirms guide. LOAR down 5.6. 3 million block being shopped. Mankind down 5 in reaction to INSM 2B trials. CBRL down 3.3. 270 million convert. CAR down 2.5. CFO change. UNICY down 50. FDA identified deficiencies in compliance at third-party manufacturing vendor. DBI is down 24 off earnings. Lake down 17 off earnings. AIRS down down by 13 off 3 million offering, and ONDS down 6.5 common stock offering. TDGT down 4. JP Morgan downgrade. Applied into, is that APLD? Are they applied? I know we had the CoreWeave one, but now they're saying OpenAI. So nice, baby. You woke up sick today? Oh, you're going to blame it on the immigrants? No, don't do that. You blame it on Donald Trump. Come on, man. Everybody knows this. I'm telling you. I woke up with diarrhea, and I got mad. I wrote a letter to my congressman, and I said, how dare the Republicans allow this to happen in this country? I said, you're better than that. But that being said, Chatatoria, are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, yeah, we got a fun day ahead. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at the Cult, before we do anything, before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. Again, I love this country. I love it so much, I wouldn't even protest against it when it has nothing to do with that. But the other point is, do you guys not see it, man? So when something happens, who do they call? Yeah, I rest my case. So without a problem, I don't need drama. I don't need an issue. I think we should honor our veterans and our servicemen every single day. Because as you see, if something ever happened, it is the people who have made the sacrifice. That is who you are going to call upon. So if you cannot show that love and appreciation day in and day out and recognize and understand why you have your freedom today, that would be a damn shame. I don't think you'll be able to take the full advantage of this country and understand how great it is without respecting that. So veterans, the families, that's why every single day, man, no matter what, in peace, in war, it doesn't matter. We have to honor you guys because we are living in your hard work and sacrifice every day. So all of you who have served, for real, thank you for everything you have given. And I really do hope you all get a long term. That's why I'm here. Your purpose, you were here for our freedom and you helped out. I think I'm here to help you as well. Please get a long term, baby. And make sure if anybody should be getting the land and property, it should be you, man. So thank you at the bare minimum, and thank you to your families as well. And I hope all of you listening, man, I really hope you bring this culture to real life. Your voice can be heard, and again, you see it. just as people make it be known what they disagree with, I hope that even in the disagreement, you find a way to honor those Americans. They're not government, bro. These are the people serving, just like you and me, man. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope y'all bring this to real life. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. Doctors, teachers, nurses, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, anybody making their community run. God bless you and thank you, baby. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise up. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Sunday digits! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh no. Oh, yeah. Chatadonia. Oh, happy Tuesday. Okay, we got 3 minutes. Uh-oh. We gotta hurry. We gotta hurry, because yesterday it started glitching me out. You know what I'm saying, man? That was crazy. I can't get the link. I'm trying to get you the Gen Pop link. But, Chad, game time. So I will see you over on Gen Pop. It is time. I hope you have a great day. Please enjoy it, and let's make the most of it. And God bless America, baby. Thank you to the veterans. Get ready for Tuesday. So I will see you over there. Have a good one, and peace.